Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. You know what time it is. It's Coffee with Candice time. I hope you're having a really great start to your day and an awesome week so far. And of course, I want to start by saying thank you to everyone who's been liking, commenting, and sharing. I really appreciate it. So let's just get right to it. This week's topic is what's really happening? What is the real scoop going on here in Las Vegas? And so I figured I would report from the real office, which would be my car. Yes, I keep my bike in the back 90% of the time because if I can ride around a new neighborhood or meet up with a friend here or there in between appointments, I am happy to do so. Riding my bike brings me so much joy. So, during these shifting times, I've found that just realigning with what brings me joy and happiness just keeps me going so I can help serve you guys best. So I hope you guys are doing the same. But the real scoop is President Trump, of course, announced on Friday that it is in each state's hands as far as their reopening, a three-phase type of reopening program in each area. So there were a few guidelines that he had laid out as far as it has to be a 14-day decline in the numbers of COVID cases, and just a few additional details, of course, that each governor is going to be looking at. So our governor, Sisolak, last night did announce that we are not in phase 1 yet. We are in phase 0. So we are not yet ready to even give specifics on when we will be reopening and what that looks like. Many of you may have seen me riding my bike on Las Vegas Boulevard, which it's truly closed down. So it's just it's very peaceful in one regard, but it's also very eerie in another. So Wynn is the only property that I know of currently that has actually laid out their own plan. It's a 23-page plan to reopen. May 15th was their estimated date. I think they're just being proactive and trying to get things ready so that when things do open up, they will be ready to go. But that is not the case for Las Vegas Boulevard. We are just kind of in a holding pattern right now, and we don't know any date as to when we will be able to start phase 1 of the reopening. So with that being said, I will kind of stay in my lane. My lane is real estate. So just want to give you a little update. Hopefully you haven't heard any misinformation that the Strip's reopening May 15th. It's not the case. That was just that's what Wynn has outlined and tried to predict for their reopening very specifically. So in our real estate market, of course, things are changing day by day. So I won't have real good hard facts as far as like any kind of pricing declines or, where we're at month over month until the end of April. So definitely watch for that report. I definitely am looking forward to giving you some more just hard facts in that regard. But I can tell you that we had over 600 price reductions last week. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're large, substantial price reductions. I've seen a lot of sellers actually holding tight on their pricing, which I think is fantastic. Right now, as you know, essential businesses and essential showings are really the only type of real estate being done. So I think the opportunists that were kind of looky-loos in the market and just kind of testing the waters, those types of buyers are on hold for sure. So we're seeing motivated buyers, motivated sellers. Sales are actually still steady. So again, I look forward to reporting what the actual sales were for this month at the end of April. So sales have been steady. We've seen some price reductions, but inventory continues to rise. And so I just want to see where that goes, how far that goes. Right now we're at 4 months of inventory, which is a pretty substantial increase from last month where we were just under 2 months of inventory. So we have seen inventory almost double. And as far as lending goes, lending guidelines have started to tighten up. I'm sure that if you've been out there trying to get a loan, jumbo products are very challenging to get lending on right now. Lenders are trying to tighten up their risk factor, which means that rates are still really low. So if you are an A paper borrower and you're someone who, is looking for a traditional move, like to move up or move down, or you're changing jobs or whatever, it's still actually a really great time, in my opinion, to make that move. Just be very specific and strategic with what it is you plan to do. Real estate overall can very well be like a long-term hold. So a very good long-term investment. So with that being said, again, interest rates are still low. but lending is a little bit more challenging. So you definitely want to work with a lender who's been in the business for quite some time, who's on top of the ever-changing guidelines, and who is going to keep you posted and keep you safe throughout the transaction. Because even though things are changing on the daily, if you are working with someone who is up to date, who knows what's going on, who can make sure to position you properly so that you are protected via the contract and just aware of what is happening on a daily, that is truly the best advice I can give to you right now. So just want to give you like a quick little what's really happening, what's the real scoop. You know, here in Las Vegas, the real scoop is business as usual, just in a different way. I traditionally work out of my car, so here we are. This is the real Coffee with Candice, like what we do on the daily. And you know, for us at Team Farnham, business is actually still very good. Like, we've seen a lot of activity on our listings over the last weekend. So we had multiple offer situations once again over the last weekend, which was a shift in what we had seen the 2 weeks prior to. 2 weeks prior to this weekend, we started to see on our own personal end just a slowdown in activity, and it was just becoming a little bit more stagnant. But in some, we've just kind of seen a shift here over the last 5 days, I'll say, with more activity. Things are moving. I think we're finally getting used to what is happening and the fear factor, and that paralyzing initial reaction that most people have to big changes has finally started to subside. So please reach out if you'd like to chat. This is another long one. There's just so much to go over, and I just want to provide you guys good information. You know, again, positive news isn't, I want you to know that a positive spin doesn't necessarily mean that I'm avoiding what is happening, because it is true that we are in a crisis. You know, we are in a pandemic, and this is very scary for a lot of people, but there's opportunity everywhere. So it really does matter how you shift your mind. What opportunity are you going to take advantage of? How are you going to best position yourself now and in the future, so that should something like this arise again, you're in a much better position? And I know I've said this statistic before, but over 50% of homeowners in the United States have over 50% of equity. That just means that we've been a little bit more conservative, we've been a little bit more cautious, we've just been more resilient, and we've learned from 2008. So let's continue to learn, let's continue to grow, continue to shift together, and just know that you've got someone to reach out to when you've got any questions. So I'm here to help, and Vanderbilt Realty Solutions, I'm here moving you forward. Have a great day.